History of popes. Today we continue our fascinating journey through the earliest leaders of Christianity. In a previous episode, we explored the life and legacy of Pope Clement, Pope First Clement, the fourth of the Catholic Church, a man remembered for preserving unity during one of the church's earliest crises. But what happened after Clement? This is a question you can ask yourself. Who inherited the responsibility of leading a growing Christian community in a world dominated by the mighty Roman Empire? This is second. Who was the man entrusted with guiding the church at the dawn of the 2nd century? This is the third question. And why do historians know so little about him compared to other early Christian leaders? Today, we uncover the story of Pope Evaristus. The fifth Pope of the Catholic Church. This is a story of leadership during uncertainty, faith in difficult times, and the quiet strength that helped Christianity survive its earliest challenges. Before I begin, don't forget to subscribe and join us as we continue exploring the lives of the popes who shaped Christian history. Chapter 1. The word Evaristus inherited. To understand Evaristus, we must first understand the world around him. There was approximately 99 AD. The Roman Empire stood as the greatest political power on earth. Its roads connected continents. Its arms conquered nations. Its laws governed millions. Rome itself was the center of the unknown world. Yet, hidden within this vast empire was a small religious movement that many people barely noticed. Christianity. Only a few decades had passed since the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Many people who had personally known the apostles were still alive. The memories of Peter, Paul, John, and the other apostles were still fresh. The church was growing, but it remained vulnerable. Christians often gathered secretly. They had no magnificent cathedrals, no political influence, no legal protection, and at any moment, local authority would turn against them. Leading the church in such circumstances required extraordinary courage. This was the word Pope Evaristus inherited. Chapter 2. Who was Evaristus? One of the most intriguing things about Pope Evaristus is how little we know about him. Unlike later popes whose lives were carefully documented, Evaristus lived during a period when records were scarce. Ancient traditions suggest he may have been born in Bethlehem. Some sources claim he came from a Jewish family with Greek roots. Others simply identify him as a Christian leader in Rome. Unfortunately, historians cannot verify many of these details with certainty. His exact birth rate remains unknown. His parents' names are unknown. His ill life remains a mystery. Yet perhaps this teaches something important. Greatness is not always measured by how much history remembers about us. Sometimes the most important people quietly fulfill the mission without seeking recognition. Evaristus may not have left behind many writings or detailed biographies, but his influence helped preserve the Church during a crucial period of its development. Chapter 3. Becoming the fifth Pope. After the death of Pope Clement, Christian leaders in Rome selected Evaristus as the next bishop of Rome. By becoming bishop of Rome, Evaristus became the fifth pope of the Catholic Church. The successor of Clement, a spiritual descendant of Saint Peter himself, imagined the responsibility. The Church was still young. The apostolic age was ending. The generation had personally known Jesus was disappearing. The future of Christianity depended upon leaders who could preserve the teaching handed down by the apostles. Evaristus was one of those leaders. His task was not to invent a new faith. His task was to protect the faith he had received. And that remains one of the most important responsibilities of any leader. Chapter 4. The reign of Emperor Trajan. During Evaristus, he considered one of Rome's greatest emperors. Under his leadership, the empire reached its maximum territorial expansion. Many Romans viewed Trajan as wise, disciplined, and effective. Yet Christianity remained a complicated issue. Trajan did not launch a massive empire-wide persecution against Christians. However, Christians were not officially accepted either. If Christians were reported to authorities and refused to renounce their faith, punishment could flow. This created an atmosphere of uncertainty. Christians never knew when their loyalty would be questioned. Church leaders had to guide believers through fear, pressure, and occasional persecution. It was during this difficult environment that Evaristus served as Pope. Chapter 5, Building the Early Church. Ancient traditions credit Evaristus with helping organize the church in Rome. Some historical sources suggest that he divided Roman Christians communities into different pastoral districts. This would have allowed priests to care for believers more effectively. Although historians debate how much of this tradition can be verified, the story reflects an important truth. The church was growing. Growth requires organization. Organization requires leadership. Leadership requires vision. Evaristus understood that Christianity could not remain merely a collection of scattered believers. It needed structure. It needed shepherd. It needed communities working together. This lesson remains relevant today. Whether in churches, families, schools, or business, growth without organization often leads to confusion. Evaristus reminds us that good leadership creates order that helps people flourish. Chapter 6, Lessons we can learn from Evaristus. Now let us pause for a moment and ask, what can we learn from Pope Evaristus today? Lesson 1. Faithfulness matters more than fame. Most people have heard of Peter. Many know Paul, few know Evaristus. Yet, he played a crucial role in preserving Christianity. The world often celebrates celebrities. God often works through faithful servants. You don't need to become famous to make a difference. You simply need to remain faithful where you are. Lesson 2. Lead even when recognition is absent. Evaristus led during difficult times. There were no crowds applauding him, no newspaper praising him, no monument built in his honor. Yet he continued serving. True leadership is not about receiving attention. It's about accepting responsibility. Lesson 3. Protect what is valuable. Evaristus inherited a precious treasure, the Christian faith. Rather than changing it for popularity, he preserved it. In our own lives, we must identify the values of protecting: integrity, trust, faith, family, character. These things must be guarded careful. Lesson 4. Small contribution can change history. Perhaps Evaristus never imagined that billions of Christians would one day exist around the world. Yet his leadership helped make that future possible. Never underestimate the power of small acts done faithful. Chapter 7. Why is he often forgotten? One reason Evaristus fascinated historians is because he stands in the shadow of more famous figures. Before him came Peter. After him came other notable leaders. As a result, Evaristus is often overlooked. Yet history is filled with people like him. The builders who walked behind of the scenes, the teachers who inspired the future generations, parents who sacrificed for their children, the leaders who preserved institutions during difficult seasons. Civilizations do not survive because of a few famous heroes. They survive because countless faithful people quietly do their duty. Evaristus belongs among those faithful builders. Chapter 8. The end of his life. Historical sources suggest that Evaristus died around the year 107 AD. Some traditions identify him as a martyr. Others remain uncertain. Modern historians generally acknowledge that the evidence is limited. What we know is that he spent his life in serving the church. He led Christians during a difficult era. He helped preserve continuity between the apostolic generation and the generations that followed. And when his earthly missions ended, the church continued growing. His work did not die with him. His legacy continued through those who followed. Chapter 9. His legacy today. Nearly 2,000 years later, the name Evaristus may not be widely known. Yet every generation of Christians benefits from the foundations laid by leaders like him. Without faithful popes, the church might not have survived its first centuries. Without organization, unity, and perseverance, Christianity might have disappeared under the pressure of Roman Empire. Instead, it endured. And Evaristus was part of that story. His life reminds us that history is not only shaped by famous people, it is also shaped by faithful people. Chapter 10. Who succeeded Evaristus? After the death of Pope Evaristus, leadership passed to Alexander. First Alexander. Alexander became sixth pope of the Catholic Church and continued guiding Christians through the challenges of the Roman world. His story contains fascinating traditions, historical debate, and important development in early church. And that is exactly where our journey will continue in the next episode. Conclusion: Pope Evaristus may remain one of the lesser-known popes of Christian history, yet his life offers powerful reasons: faithfulness over fame, service over recognition, responsibility over popularity, and perseverance in a difficult time. As we reflect on his history, perhaps the greatest reason is this: you don't need the world to remember your name for your life to matter. What matters is whether you faithfully fulfill the mission entrusted to you. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share it with others who love history, Christianity, and the remarkable stories of the early church. Until next time, this has been History of the Popes, and in our next episode we will explore the life of First Alexander, the sixth Pope of the Catholic Church. Thank you, and God bless you.